Rank 1, the Spark Watcher. You are 6 winters old and your world is bounded entirely by the rough stone circle of the central hearth. Your only job in the entire universe is to sit on the cold dirt and stare into the shifting red eye of the fire. The elders have told you since you could understand human speech that if the red flower dies, the night monster will come out from the deep woods and consume the sun, leaving the world in a freeze that never thaws. You believe them with every drop of your young blood, because you have seen what happens when the light fades at the cave mouth. The dark seems to press against your chest like a heavy stone. Your small eyes are permanently bloodshot and watery from the thick gray cloud that hangs low under the cave roof, trapped by the cold stone above. Your skin is patterned with tiny white circular marks where the popping pine embers have leaped from the pit and landed on your bare arms and chest. You do not get to eat the prime meat from the hunts. Your belly is filled only with the soft, scraped marrow bones after the adult hunters have opened them with heavy river rocks. You sit there, licking the grease from your dirt-caked fingers, and you watch the red flower like a hawk watches a mouse. If the flames shrink down into the gray dust, your heart pounds against your ribs, and you quickly throw a handful of dry grass or brittle twigs to feed it. If the flame grows too high and threatens to lick the low, dry roof of the cave, the warmth keeper corrects your positioning with a heavy birch stick to teach you respect for the boundaries. You have learned to breathe through your teeth so the choking smoke doesn't make you cough and disturb the sleeping warriors. You are forced to sleep closest to the pit for protection, which means your front is always melting from the fierce heat while your back is freezing from the draft that slips under the cave skin. In your short, troubled sleep, you dream of the red flower growing as large as the sky, swallowing the moon whole, and leaving you alone in the roaring heat. Rank 2, the Fuel Gatherer. Your legs have grown longer now, and you no longer belong to the safety of the cave. You belong to the wild forest. You do not get to sit by the comforting warmth anymore. You have to chase that warmth through the wet, rustling woods every single day, no matter if the rain is pouring or the snow is up to your knees. Your hands are constantly weathered by briars, and your shoulders are rubbed raw by the thick vine ropes you use to bind your bundles. You must search for the wood that has passed away naturally, the dry, brittle branches that have snapped under the weight of the wind and dried out under the rare summer sun. If you make a mistake and bring back wet wood or green branches, the fire smoke turns a thick, choking green, and the entire clan coughs until their chests ache. When that happens, they express their anger until you run back out into the dark. You have to watch the shadows constantly, for the sharp-toothed cats and the great cave bears know that the two-legged ones come to the deadwood thickets for sticks. They lie in wait for you behind the rotting logs, listening for the sound of snapping pine. You have learned the hidden language of the forest. You know which bushes burn with a fast, blinding flash that is good for starting the dawn, and which massive oak logs will sleep quietly for a long time in the deep coals through the freezing midnight. Your shins bear the deep marks of falling through hidden rock crevices while carrying loads twice your own weight. You smell permanently of old moss, rotting leaves, and damp earth. When you return to the cave at dusk with a mountain of branches piled high on your bent spine, the hunters look at you as if you are nothing but a common pack animal. But you hold your head up in the shadows because you know the absolute truth. Without your worn feet and your heavy bundles, the red flower would starve to death in a single night. Rank 3, the Bone Smoker. You have entered the age where you are trusted to handle the fruits of the harvest, though your arms are not yet thick enough to throw the heavy tools of the hunt. When the great hunters return from the marshes, dragging the resources of the hairy beasts, you take your place in the heavy, fat-choked cloud at the very back of the cavern. Your hands are never clean. They are permanently coated in a layer of yellow grease and dried remnants that fill the cracks of your skin. You sit for hours with a sharp flake of dark flint, slicing the raw pieces into thin, translucent strips and hanging them over the high wooden poles where the white, billowing breath of the hearth rises. The trapped smoke makes your eyes water until you are nearly blind, and the salt tears run down your dirty cheeks in clean streaks. Your voice has changed. It sounds like two heavy stones scraping together because the soot has settled deep in your throat from years of breathing the burning fat. but you feel a new pride growing in your chest, for you are the one who ensures the survival of the tribe. You are the magician who transforms fresh, spoiling elements into hard, dried sustenance that will stay good through the long, bitter moons when the snow covers the earth and no resources can be found. You have discovered the great secret of the hickory bark, how its white smoke makes the fat taste like sweet summer rain. The young girls from the riverside of the cave look at you through the haze because they know you always have a scrap of rich, smoked fat hidden in your grass skirt to share when the night is long and cold. Rank 4, the Hearth Guard. You have grown broad in the chest, your shoulders are like the roots of an oak tree, and your hands are hard as stone from swinging the heavy club. You stand at the very mouth of the cave, exactly where the orange light of the fire meets the absolute blackness of the outside world. Your job is not to look at the fire. Your job is to turn your back to the warmth and watch the shifting shadows of the valley. The other tribes, the wild ones who live in the high hills without the secret of the flame, see our red glow from leagues away. They look down from the peaks with cold, empty bellies, and they want that warmth for themselves. They come in the dead of night, creeping through the brush with sharp sticks and eyes like wolves. You stand firm with your heavy club, its pointed tip hardened in the white-hot coals of the inner pit until it is black, fire-cured, and highly durable. You peer out into the rustling trees, your eyes completely adapted to the dark, while the flickering orange light dances behind you like a living spirit. When the packs of mountain wolves howl just beyond the tree line, your pulse does not quicken, and your knees do not shake. You know that the red flower scares them far more than it scares you, and as long as you hold the burning perimeter, the clan is safe. Because you guard the gate where the wind screams, you have permission from the chiefs to take the very first bite of the roasted flank before the rest of the tribe is fed. Your strength and your muscle are the only wall between the children and the ancient night. Rank 5, the Fire Striker. You are the undisputed magician of the high flint ridges. You no longer belong to the common crowd that waits for the lightning to strike a pine tree before they can gather the flame. You have spent 7 long winters learning the secret language of the hard gray stone and the heavy metallic iron rock that lives in the deep veins of the mountain. You sit apart from the others for days on end, striking the rocks together with precise, rhythmic blows until your knuckles are split and worn, chasing the tiny, angry yellow bugs of light that fly out from the impact. You know exactly how to catch those fleeing yellow bugs on the soft, dry belly of the dried birch mushroom. When your stones click together with a sharp crack and a tiny, fragile thread of gray smoke rises from the tinder, the entire cave falls into a deathly silence. The fiercest hunters and the oldest mothers look at you with open mouths, as if you have reached into the night sky and pulled down a living star with your bare fingers. Your thumbs are permanently deformed, thick and split from the times the heavy stones missed their mark, and you have lost the hearing in your left ear from the endless, ringing clink of the flint, but you walk through the camp with your chin held high toward the clouds. You are no longer just a servant of the flame. You are its father and its creator, bringing life from the dead stone whenever the tribe demands it. Rank 6, the Meat Master. You are the ruler of the tribe's belly, and your word is law around the cooking trenches. You possess the sacred knowledge of heat. You know exactly how many heartbeats a thick joint of deer leg must sit above the red-hot embers before the internal juices turn into sweet, brown nourishment that makes a man strong. You know how to wrap the delicate river fish in broad, wet mud leaves, burying them deep within the gray ashes so they steam in their own sweet water without ever touching the naked flame. The entire clan bows their heads to you when the sun sinks behind the mountains, because you hold the key to the great fullness that keeps the peace. If you are careless and leave the food over the coals for too long, it turns to bitter black stone, and the hunters grow wild with anger. If you take it off too soon, the foul internal elements come in the night, and the children cry until the dawn. You walk around the pits holding a long, 2-pronged birch fork that you use to turn the sizzling flanks, and both of your arms are completely hairless because the fierce heat of the flames has singed every strand away down to the pink skin. You smell constantly of roasted fat, sweet wood smoke, and absolute success, and even the great chief listens to your voice when the dinner hour comes. Rank 7, the Warmth Keeper. You are old now, older than the oldest moss on the north side of the trees. Your legs can no longer carry the heavy oak logs from the forest, and your arms are too weak to strike the hard flint or hold the heavy club against the hill tribes. But you possess what the young ones lack, the deep, silent wisdom of 50 winters. You sit permanently at the mouth of the primary mother pit, your body wrapped in the thick, weathered hide of a cave lion. You are the one who decides who gets to sleep close to the glowing center where the air is sweet and warm, and who must be cast out to the freezing edges of the cave where the wet wind howls through the stone cracks. You dole out the dry pine logs from the winter store as if they were pieces of your own flesh. You know the ancient geometric secret of arranging the logs in the shape of the 5-pointed star so that the wood breathes perfectly, burning slow, steady, and true through the 10 long hours of the winter dark. The young ones tremble when they pass you because they know that a single motion of your old, withered hand can banish them to the cold dark where the night monsters wait. You hold a long, heavy rod of fire-blackened boxwood. You use it to adjust the dying embers back to life, and to correct any greedy hunter who tries to take more than his share of the sacred heat. You are the living memory of the first spark, and until your eyes close for the last time, you are the master of the clan's survival.